The credit card slipped from Chike's trembling fingers, clattering onto the marble floor of his Banana Island mansion. "What did you say?" His voice cracked, tears streaming down his face as he stared at Ebier, his maid, who stood before with her head bowed, clutching a worn envelope. "Sir, your wife, Madame Ngozi, she asked me to continue taking care of them after she died." Ebier's voice shook. "The 6 children in my village, the orphans, she made me promise." Chike's legs gave out. He collapsed onto the white leather sofa, his hands covering his face. For 2 years, he'd been drowning in loneliness, surrounded by vultures who only wanted his money. He'd just watched his girlfriend spend 47 million Nigerian nairas in one day on designer bags and cars. His business partner had used his car to buy land for herself. But this woman, this quiet maid he'd barely noticed, had spent only 45,000 Nigerian nairas. Not on herself. On children his dead wife had loved in secret. "Show me," he whispered. "Show me everything." As Ebier opened the envelope, revealing photos of 6 smiling children, wearing clothes he recognized, his wife's donated clothes, Chike's heart shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. But for the first time since Ngozi's death, he felt something else too. Hello guys, welcome to my African Tales. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I drop another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survived? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever? The Lego sun blazed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Chike Okafor's penthouse office, casting long shadows across the room where Nigeria's tech revolution had been born. At 45, Chike had everything money could buy: a sprawling mansion in Banana Island, a fleet of luxury cars, private jets, and a tech empire worth over $2 billion that had transformed mobile banking across West Africa. But none of it could bring her back. Chike stood at the window, watching the chaos of Victoria Island traffic below. The yellow Danfo buses weaving between Range Rovers, the street hawkers balancing trays on their heads, the organized chaos that was Lagos. 2 years ago, he would have turned to share a joke about it with Ngozi. 2 years ago, his wife would have been beside him, laughing, planning their next move. 2 years ago, cancer hadn't stolen his soul. "Sir, your 3 o'clock is here." His secretary's voice crackled through the intercom. Chike didn't move. He was tired, bone-deep tired of the performance, tired of pretending the money meant something, tired of the people who circled him like sharks, their eyes gleaming with greed, especially tired of the 3 women who now dominated his life. There was Zainab, exotic, beautiful, with tribal marks that enhanced her Fulani heritage and a body she knew how to use like a weapon. She'd appeared 6 months after the funeral, all sympathy and soft touches. Now she wore his money like perfume, always suggesting they visited designer stores in Lekki, always posing for Instagram photos tagged with hashtags about blessing and winning. Then Folklore, his business partner, brilliant and ruthless. She'd been with him since the beginning, helping build the empire from a small office in Yaba. Sharp suits, sharper mind. But lately, every conversation circled back to expansion, to investments, to opportunities where his money could make them both richer. She never asked how he felt, only how much he planned to invest. And finally, Ebier, the ghost, his housemaid from Delta State. So quiet, he sometimes forgot she was there. She'd been recommended by Ngozi's family 3 years ago, moved into the boys' quarter behind the mansion, and simply existed, cleaning, cooking, vanishing into the background like smoke. He knew almost nothing about her except that she sent most of her salary home and never, ever asked him for anything. 3 women, 3 strangers. And he was surrounded by them, yet completely alone. The idea had come to him late last night, after another dinner where Zainab had hinted about a new Hermes bag and Folklore had pitched another guaranteed investment opportunity. He'd been drinking too much, standing in Ngozi's old closet, breathing in the faint scent of her perfume that still clung to empty hangers. "How do I know?" he'd whispered to the darkness. "How do I know if anyone actually cares about me, not just my money?" And then the answer crystallized cold and clear. Test them. Now, as he turned from the window, Chaik felt something stirring in his chest. Not quite hope, he'd buried that with Ngozi, but curiosity, maybe even a twisted sense of justice. He pressed the intercom. Send them in. All three. Tell them it's urgent. Within the hour, they'd assembled in his living room, an architectural masterpiece overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. The furniture alone cost more than most Lagosians earned in a lifetime. Zainab arrived first, dripping in gold jewelry, her ghillie perfectly wrapped despite the Lagos heat. She air-kissed both his cheeks, leaving lipstick marks. Baby, what's this emergency? I canceled my spa appointment. Folklore came next, iPad in hand, already talking. Chaik, I hope this is about the Abuja deal. We need to move fast before. She stopped when she saw Zainab, her expression souring. The two women barely tolerated each other. Finally, Ebier entered through the kitchen door, wiping her hands on her apron. She looked confused, terrified even. In 3 years, she'd never been summoned to the main living room. Sit, Chaik commanded. Zainab perched elegantly on the white sofa. Folklore remained standing, arms crossed. Ebier hovered by the door, unable to comprehend why she was here with these powerful women. Chaik reached into his jacket and pulled out 3 black credit cards, laying them on the glass coffee table with deliberate precision. The platinum gleamed under the chandelier light. Each of you gets 1 card, he said quietly. 24 hours. No limit. Buy whatever you want. Anything at all. Zainab's eyes went wide. Folklare's expression remained neutral, but her fingers twitched toward the cards. Ebier looked like she might faint. Sir, I don't understand, Ebier whispered. It's simple. Chaik's voice was ice. Take the card. Spend my money. Show me who you really are. Baby, this is crazy. Zainab laughed, but her hand was already reaching. What's the occasion? Consider it a gift or a game. He met each woman's eyes in turn. Starting now, 24 hours. I'll be watching. Folklore picked up her card first, examining it like a business proposition. Zainab snatched hers, already pulling out her phone to text her friends. Ebier approached the last card as if it might bite her, her hands shaking as she took it. What's the catch? Folklore asked. Chaik smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. No catch. Just spend. That's all I ask. As the 3 women left, Zainab practically skipping, Folklore calculating, Ebier stumbling in confusion. Chaik returned his window. Below, Lagos churned on, indifferent to the small drama playing out in its wealthiest enclave. He'd know by tomorrow. He'd finally know if there was a single person left in his life who saw him as more than a walking bank account. What he didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that in 24 hours, one of those 3 cards would destroy him and save him. Zainab's fingers trembled with excitement as she slid into her Mercedes. A gift from Chaik 3 months ago. The black credit card felt like victory in her palm. 24 hours, she whispered, starting the engine. No limit. Her first stop was the Hermes boutique in Victoria Island. The air-conditioned sanctuary smelled of leather and money. Sales assistants recognized her immediately. She'd been here before, always looking, rarely buying. Madam Zainab. The manager rushed forward. Welcome back. I'll take 3 Birkin bags, Zainab announced. Card already extended. The orange one, the black croc, and that limited edition with the gold hardware. The manager's eyes widened. Madam, together that's 38 million Nigerian nairas. Did I stutter? 40 minutes later, Zainab emerged with shopping bags worth more than her father's house in Kano. She posted immediately. 3 photos, perfect angles. Caption reading, blessed beyond measure, gemstone sparkles, hashtag luxury life, hashtag billionaire babe, hashtag Lagos wife. But she was just getting started. The Range Rover dealership in Lekki was next. Chaik had 3 already, but Zainab wanted her own. The new model, champagne colored with cream interior. The salesman nearly tripped over himself when she said, I'll take it. Today. Cash payment. Madam, this particular model is 85 million Nigerian nairas. She slapped down the credit card. Wrap it up. As the dealership processed the payment, Zainab scrolled through her phone, already planning. Dubai. She needed a vacation. First-class tickets, the Burj Al Arab, shopping at the Dubai Mall. She opened the Emirates website. 2 tickets. Why not bring her sister? For 0.6 million Nigerian nairas. Click. Confirmed. Hotel suite for 1 week, the Royal Suite. 12 million Nigerian nairas. Click. Confirmed. Her phone buzzed. A message from her friend Kemi. Girl, I saw your post. You're finally getting that ring. Smiling face with hard eyes. Zainab smiled. Let them think that. Let them all think Chaik was finally ready to make her Mrs. Okafor. This spending spree was obviously his way of showing commitment. Across the street, Chaik sat in a tinted SUV, his driver beside him. He watched Zainab pose with a new Range Rover, watched her throw her head back in laughter as the salesman handed her the keys. His jaw tightened. His phone pinged, alerts from his bank. 38 million Nigerian nairas. 85 million Nigerian nairas. For 0.6 million Nigerian nairas. 12 million Nigerian nairas. The numbers climbed like a fever. By evening, Zainab had hit the jewelry stores in Lekki Phase 1. Diamond tennis bracelet, Nigerian naira 6.8 million. Cartier watch, Nigerian naira 1 million. She bought champagne for strangers at a rooftop bar, 340,000 Nigerian nairas, on drinks alone. She called her mother in Kano, promised to send money for a new car. As midnight approached, Zainab collapsed on her bed in her Akoi apartment. Another gift from Chaik, surrounded by shopping bags and boxes. Her Instagram stories have been viewed 15,000 times. Her DMs were flooded with congratulations, with envy, with women asking, how did you do it? She checked the banking app Chaik had sent her, the one that showed her spending total. 187 million Nigerian nairas in one day. Zainab laughed until tears ran down her face. This was it. This was what she'd worked for. 2 years of playing the perfect girlfriend, of laughing at his sad stories about his dead wife, of pretending to care about his feelings. Finally, she was getting paid. What she didn't know was that across the city, in his mansion, Chaik was staring at the same numbers. His face was stone, but his hands shook. So that's what I am to you, he whispered to the screen. An ATM machine. He thought of Ngozi, how she'd worn the same simple gold necklace for 10 years, how she refused a bigger engagement ring because the money could build a school somewhere. His heart felt like lead, but the test wasn't over. Tomorrow, he'd see what Folake would do. He already knew he wouldn't like it. Folake's alarm rang at 5:30 a.m., same as every morning. She was showered, dressed in a crisp navy pantsuit, and reviewing spreadsheets by 6:15. The black credit card sat on her desk like a chess piece. Unlike Zainab's chaos, Folake's approach was surgical. Her first call was to a land agent in Abuja, that plot in Maitama we discussed last month, the one near the Chinese embassy. I'm ready to move. Ah, Madam Folake. Excellent timing. But the price has gone up to 45 million Nigerian nairas. Send the papers. I'll transfer today. By 9 a.m., she owned prime real estate in Nigeria's capital, not in Chaik's name, in hers. Her second move was a central business district in Lagos. She'd been eyeing an office complex, perfect for expanding their tech company's footprint. The building was distressed, the owner desperate. Market value, 230 million Nigerian nairas. Folake offered 180 million Nigerian nairas, cash, immediate closing. The owner accepted within an hour. Lunch was at the Civic Center with 3 potential clients. CEOs of banks interested in their payment platform. Folake ordered the premium wine, the seafood platter, dessert for the table. The bill came to 890,000 Nigerian nairas. She didn't blink. This is how you close deals, she told herself, signing the receipt with flourish. But unlike Zainab's spectacle, Folake moved in shadows. No Instagram posts. No flashy cars. Everything had a purpose, a strategy. By 4 p.m., she'd invested in stocks, Nigerian naira 30 million spread across blue-chip companies. By 6 p.m., she bought new servers for their company office, Nigerian naira 15 million, upgrades they'd been discussing for months. Chaik watched from his office across town, tracking every transaction. His expression was unreadable. At 8 p.m., Folake finally did something personal. She bought a modest 3-bedroom flat in Ikoyi for 62 million Nigerian nairas. Not a mansion. Something sensible. An investment that would appreciate. When she finally returned to her own apartment in Victoria Island, Folake poured herself a single glass of wine and reviewed her day. Total spent 363 million Nigerian nairas. But unlike Zainab's waste, everything Folake bought would generate returns. The land would triple in value. The office building would house their expansion. The client dinner would convert to contracts worth billions. She texted Chaik, "Hope you don't mind. I made some strategic investments today. Everything aligns with our 5-year plan. We should discuss tomorrow." In his mansion, Chaik read the message 3 times. "Our 5-year plan," he said aloud bitterly. "Not, are you okay? Not, how are you feeling? Just business." He thought of how Folake had been at Ngozi's funeral, efficient, organized, making sure the service ran smoothly. At the time, he'd been grateful. Now, he wondered if she'd been thinking about the company even then. His phone buzzed. His accountant, surprised at the activity. "Sir, should I flag these transactions? That's over 500 million Nigerian nairas in 2 days." "Let it run," Chaik said tiredly. "I need to see something." He poured himself whiskey, expensive, imported, meaningless, and stood at his window again. Below, Lagos glittered like scattered diamonds. Somewhere in that sprawl, Ebier had his 3rd card. The quiet maid who said nothing, asked for nothing, existed like a ghost in his house. What would she do? Chaik realized he had no idea. He knew Zainab's Instagram handle, but not Ebier's last name. He knew Folake's business strategy, but not where Ebier was from, except somewhere in Delta. For 3 years, she'd been invisible. Tomorrow, he'd finally see her. Ebier didn't sleep. She sat on the narrow bed in the boys' quarters, staring at the credit card like it might explode. 50,000 Nigerian nairas was her monthly salary. This card had no limit. "It's a test," she whispered in Ijaw, her native language. "It must be a test." At dawn, she braided her hair tightly, put on her cleanest dress, not the uniform, something personal, and left the mansion. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The BRT bus to Ojota cost 300 Nigerian nairas. She clutched her bag, the credit card hidden deep inside, terrified someone might snatch it. Her first stop was a pharmacy in Ikeja. The pharmacist knew her. She came every month. "Ebier, you're early this month. I need the malaria medications, the children's doses, and the antibiotics for Tund. His cough is worse." The pharmacist packed the medications carefully. "That's 18,000 Nigerian nairas total." Ebier pulled out the black card, her heart hammering. What if it didn't work? What if this was all a cruel joke? The machine beeped. Approved. She nearly cried. Next was a market in Mushin. Ebier bought rice. 5 large bags. 15,000 Nigerian nairas. Beans, Gary palm oil, dried fish, crayfish. Everything the children would need for months. The market women helped her load everything into a taxi. "Sister, you done win lottery?" One woman joked. "Something like that," Ebier whispered. The taxi drove her to the motor park. She bought a ticket to Sapil, her hometown in Delta State, 6 hours away. Another 3,500 Nigerian nairas. By noon, she was gone from Lagos entirely. In Sapil, the red earth roads were familiar as her own heartbeat. The taxi dropped her at a small compound on the edge of town, a faded yellow building with rusted zinc roof. 6 children exploded from the doorway. Ani Ebier. They ranged from 5 to 12 years old. Orphans whose parents had died 2 years ago when their fishing boat capsized in the Forcados River. Ebier's own sister had been on that boat. These children were her blood, her responsibility. "I brought food," she announced, "and medicine for Tund." The eldest, a girl named Prey, helped unload the bags. "Ani, this is too much. How did you—" "Don't ask questions. Just help me cook." That night, Ebier fed all 6 children a proper meal, jollof rice with chicken, fried plantains, cold drinks. She watched them eat like it was the most beautiful sight in the world. Later, when they slept in piles on thin mattresses, Ebier sat outside under the stars, the credit card still in her pocket. She'd spent 45,000 Nigerian nairas. Nothing compared to what that card could buy. She thought about Zainab's designer bags, though she'd never seen them. She thought about fancy restaurants and cars and things she couldn't even imagine. Then she looked at the sleeping children through the window. "This is enough," she said quietly. "This is everything." At midnight, she caught a bus back to Lagos. She had to return the card. She had to get back to work before Mr. Chaik noticed she was gone. What she didn't know was that Chaik had noticed everything. Ebier crept into the mansion at 1 a.m., exhausted from the 12-hour round trip. She planned to slip the credit card under Chaik's office door and pretend the whole strange day had never happened. But Chaik was waiting. He sat in the dark living room, a single lamp casting shadows across his face. When she entered through the kitchen, he spoke. "Where have you been?" Ebier jumped, nearly dropping her bag. "Sir, I'm sorry I should have." "Sit down." It wasn't a request. Ebier perched on the edge of the sofa, as far from him as possible. She'd never sat on this furniture before. It felt wrong. "The card," Chaik said flatly. "Give it to me." With trembling hands, she retrieved it from her bag and placed it on the coffee table. Chaik picked up his phone, opening the banking app. 45,000 Nigerian nairas. He stared at the number for a long moment. Zainab had spent 187 million Nigerian nairas. Folklore, 363 million Nigerian nairas. This woman had spent 45,000 Nigerian nairas. "What did you buy?" His voice was dangerous. "Quiet. Medicine." Ebier whispered. "And food." "Sir, I'm sorry if I—" "For who?" Silence. "Ebier." Chaik leaned forward. "For who?" She broke. The words spilled out in a rush, in broken English mixed with eye-jaw. "The children, sir. 6 children in my village. Their parents died. My sister died. I'm all they have. I use my salary, but it's not enough. They're hungry, they get sick. I just wanted to help them one time. Proper help." Chaik's expression didn't change. "Why didn't you ask me for money? In 3 years, you never asked for anything." "It's not my place, sir." "Not your place." He laughed bitterly. "Zainab thinks everything is her place. Folklore treats my money like it's already hers. But you actually needed help, and you stayed silent." Ebier's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry, sir. I shouldn't have used the card. I'll pay you back. I'll work for free until—" "Stop." Chaik stood abruptly, pacing. "Just stop." He walked to the window, his usual spot, and stood with his back to her. His shoulders were shaking. "Sir," Ebier's voice was small. "My wife," Chaik said roughly. "Tell me about my wife." Ebier went very still. "You knew her for a year before she died." "Tell me." "Sir, I don't understand." "Tell me." Chaik spun around, and Ebier saw his face was wet with tears. "Tell me the truth." Ebier stood, fumbling in her bag with shaking hands. She pulled out a worn envelope, the kind that had been opened and resealed many times. "Madame Ngozi," she whispered. She found me crying one day, 3 years ago. I'd just gotten news about my sister's death. She asked me what was wrong. I told her everything. About the children, about having no money to help them. She opened the envelope, pulling out a letter. The handwriting was elegant, feminine. "She made me promise not to tell you. She said you'd insist on giving too much, that you'd try to solve everything with money. But she wanted to do it quietly, person to person." Chaik took the letter with numb fingers. His wife's handwriting swam before his eyes. "My dear Ebier, please use this money for the children. I've sent 100,000 Nigerian nairas. It should cover their school fees and food for the term. I know you'll use it wisely. I'm writing this letter because the doctors say I don't have much time left. The cancer is spreading. But I need you to promise me something, After I'm gone, please keep taking care of those children. Not because anyone is paying you, but because they need someone to love them. My husband will be lost when I die. He'll forget how to see people, really see them. He'll only see vultures and thieves. Please be patient with him. One day, he'll remember that there's still goodness in the world. With love, Ngozi. The letter slipped from Chike's fingers. She sent money, Ebier continued, her voice breaking. Every month for a year before she died. She made me promise to keep helping them after. But I had no money like hers, so I just did what I could. Chike's legs gave out. He collapsed onto the sofa, his hands covering his face, and sobbed. All this time, he'd been surrounded by vultures, drowning in loneliness, certain that every person in his life only wanted his money. And the whole time, this quiet woman had been honoring his wife's legacy, asking for nothing, giving everything. The clothes, he gasped. You took Ngozi's clothes. I thought you stole them. She told me to give them to the children after she passed. I'm sorry, sir. I should have asked you. Chike waved his hand, unable to speak. He cried for his wife. He cried for his own blindness. He cried for wasting 2 years drowning in bitterness when goodness had been living in his boys' quarters the entire time. Show me, he finally said. Show me the children. Ebier pulled out her phone, an old model, cracked screen, and showed him photos. 6 children in donated clothes, smiling despite everything. One little boy wore Ngozi's favorite yellow shirt, the one with sunflowers. Chike's heart shattered completely. And then, for the first time in 2 years, he felt something else break open inside him. Not despair, not loneliness. Purpose. How much do they need? He asked quietly. Sir, the children. For school. For food. For everything. How much? I don't know. Maybe 500,000 Nigerian nairas? For the whole year? Chike pulled out his phone and made a call, despite the 2 a.m. hour. His accountant answered. Groggy. Set up a foundation, Chike said. The Ngozi Okafor Foundation for Orphan Children. I want 500 million Nigerian nairas transferred by morning. And find me the best lawyers. I need scholarship programs, housing, everything. Sir, it's 2 a.m. Now. He hung up and turned to Ebier, who was staring at him in shock. You're going to run it, he said. The foundation. You'll make sure children like yours, like ours, never go hungry again. Sir, I'm just a maid. You're the only person in my life who actually cared about what my wife cared about. You're the only one who saw past my money. His voice cracked. You're the only real person I have left. Ebier burst into tears. For the rest of the night, they sat in that living room, talking about Ngozi, about the children, about building something that mattered. As dawn broke over Legos, painting the sky pink and gold, Chike felt something he thought had died with his wife. Hope. 3 months later, Chike stood at a new building in Sapil, the first Ngozi Okafor Children's Home. 6 children ran through the halls, along with 20 more from across Delta State. Ebier, now Director Ebier, wore a professional dress and held a clipboard. She was smiling. Zainab had been sent away with a severance check. She called him every name in the book, posted angry rants online, then moved on to the next wealthy man. Last he heard, she was in Abuja chasing a senator. Folake had been harder. She'd been genuinely confused when he dissolved their partnership. I was investing in our future, she protested. He bought her out fairly, generously even. She left angry but wealthy. Now, watching children play in a safe space his wife had dreamed of, Chike finally understood what wealth was actually for. Not bags, not land, not proving anything. But this, laughter, hope, future. Thank you, he said quietly to Ebier. She smiled. I should be thanking you, sir. Chike, he corrected. Just Chike. Thank you, Chike. He looked up at the sky, imagining Ngozi somewhere beyond the clouds, smiling. I finally see it, he whispered. I finally understand. The credit card test had broken his heart. But sometimes hearts need to break open before they can truly heal.